USA.
USA.
USA. USA. It's really hard to understand online when you've got a slight delay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful game. Woo!
America!
Gobble, gobble. That's right. I am Blake, as always, here with Ferris.
Yeah.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And if you can't tell, we enjoyed watching USA defeat Iran today and move on to the final 16 knockout stages of the World Cup.
Let's go, baby.
Heck yeah.
Still eating, leftovers from Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Very American, very proud.
I like Pumpkin Pie Tuesday. We go through.
Is Pumpkin Pie Tuesday?
Oh, I guess.
And they gave to us a victory.
That they did.
Oh, it was so nervy, but God, what a good match.
Well, yeah, I think this was a way tougher group than people might have anticipated.
Uh-huh.
Weird World Cup, different things happening to teams you wouldn't have expected the whole way around. So obviously we're going to be talking about the men's team defeating Iran today 1-0. And then we're going to pass on over to, oh man, I always love when I wait to read these till right before I do them. Then we're going to pass it on over to the homie of the hot dog, the baller of the brats, and of course the sultan of sausage, Ron, as he brings back the latest and greatest terms of beer in this edition of Ron's Beer News. We then close out the pod discussing our storylines and headlines of the World Cup thus far. But first, it's the beer. And since I brought up gobble gobble, you mind if I go first?
Go on,
hit it.
All right, I'm gonna move us into something that Ferris said he's gonna do next pod.
I did.
Yeah, I have a Christmas beer here.
Is it sour?
But it's specific. The reason it is because I said I'm still doing leftovers. We made some amazing cranberry sauce. So this is guys, I'm going back local your way. This is from Ocala. This is the Infinite Ale Works. It is their normal Belgian Abbey-Style quad that they do, but this is their Christmas version. And I'll read you. This is why I decided to do it. This annual release starts as our traditional Belgian quad with notes of dark fruits and rich malts, then meets the holiday nostalgia of cranberry, clove, star anise, allspice, cinnamon, and vanilla. Those are all things I cooked with over Thanksgiving. And so it felt appropriate to give thanks to the United States men's national team and raise this Belgian quad to them.
Nice.
Love it.
What's the ABV on that thing?
I was going to say, and the
9.2
no 11%.
Oh, that's a quad. You said, sorry.
Yeah,
that's gonna be up
it's
there.
a quad. It's a legit quad. Yeah, so I'm very excited for this little. Normally, it's their West Florida quad, Belgian quad, but this is the West Floridian Christmas.
Nice. Well, if we can jump onto our beer here real fast, we have decided to pay homage to one Mr. Christian Pulisic
From Hershey,
for-
Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to drink. Go ahead.
for putting his body on the line and scoring that goal. So we decided what we should do is go with the country's oldest brewery, which happens to be Yuengling from Pottstown, Pennsylvania. But they are also brewing a porter with Hershey chocolate from Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is where Christian Pulisic is from. So we are drinking the Yuengling Hershey's Chocolate Porter.
Yeah.
Well played. You just might as well get the bleep sheet ready for that.
Oh, yeah. I'm
So excited. For the U.S. going through, I haven't had this Hershey Porter yet, but it seemed, as we were discussing the beers to have on the pod, we landed on one American brew first, and then went, I don't think we've had that one on. Then we got to the next American brew. I don't think we have that on. Oh, but wait, even better. They have one specifically that says Hershey on it. From Hershey, Pennsylvania, where Christian P. himself's from.
If my memory serves correct, the porters were good from Yuengling, but I don't know if I've had the Hershey one. I've had the ones that...
So some quick information on the Yuengling Brewery. They have a brewery in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, but then they also have a brewery location in Tampa, Florida. It is the oldest operating brewery in the United States because it opened in 1829, which means it's 193 years old as of this year. And the Hershey's Chocolate Porter, the write-up about it from their website says, Yuengling, America's oldest brewery, and Hershey, America's most iconic chocolate, are collaborating for the first time in their history to provide a once-in-a-lifetime creation for their loyal fans to enjoy. America loves beer, America loves chocolate, so Yuengling and Hershey joined forces to bring the best of both worlds to their fans with a limited edition Yuengling Hershey's Chocolate Porter.
And America loves Christian Pulisic.
So it'd be rude if we didn't do this beer.
I love it. That's a good one. Good call. I'm excited about this Infinite Ale Works. I don't think I've had them before. They're only a couple.
I've definitely heard of them. I've had a few things from them. I can't remember offhand what exactly I've had.
2014, founded in 2014. So they haven't been around that long.
No, not at all.
All right, let's pour this bad boy out.
Oh, man. This office smells like a quad.
It's going to be nice and malty and sweet.
Oh, man. It smells fantastic. This would have paired well with my leftovers. Now that I've gotten the hang of making my own cranberry sauce frequently, I feel like I need to do another home brew with my cranberry sauce.
Oh, interesting.
Ha! So diggity dog, y'all. This smells good.
First appearance on this, there is no head.
I had minimal, and it went away just as fast as it got there.
And honestly, in the glass, it looks more like soda
than
it does beer.
Yes. I mean, a porter's going to look a little bit lesser like that. It's not.
But most porters have a bit of a head that stays around.
It does. Correct.
This has zero.
What do you expect? You can buy it at your local store and it's been canned 700,000 times.
But
or
man,
bottled.
it has a bit of alcohol chocolate smell.
Yes, it certainly does.
All right.
Get me some marshmallows and some graham crackers. Have me a Yuengling Hershey s'more.
Shall we hit this bad boy?
All right, gents. Cheers.
So watch it.
Christian Pulisic, you're the man.
Holy good Lord. It took that long. That was delicious up front. And then I got smacked with Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner like 5 seconds later. That is so, you guys got to snag this. I know you can get that down there. This is awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to seek it out.
You get that multi quad up front. And then on the back, you almost get like this. See, I smoked my turkey, and you can tell some of these malts are roasted because it's almost got that smoked vibe. Mm-hmm. And weirdly enough, you can kind of get a hint of the cranberry even on the back end. Like this is wild. It's really good.
Dang. And did you get that up there?
No. I did not. Family came up and visited for Thanksgiving, so they brought.
Gotcha. Cool. This is, to be honest with you, it's if you had a Yuengling lager and just threw some Hershey's together with it, bingo bango.
I think that's a little generous.
Sure, but I was trying to be polite to the 193-year-old brewery that graces this fine country.
They've done it. They did their thing. I was really excited in college when Yuengling came to North Carolina because we didn't have to do Natty Light anymore. Man, I wish I could explain this beer better. There's so many holiday food flavorings in this. Man.
Yuengling, Hershey's.
Ooh,
boom.
Love it. Well, Thanksgiving beer is what that is. They don't make, at least I couldn't find a Thanksgiving beer around here. So that's why I went with this. Yeah. All right, gents. And mighty fine to be back with you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Between family and work and opening Christmas shows at work, it's been a little bonkers.
Have you been able to listen to the 2 previous pods?
I was going to say, have you been able to see your World Cup bracket that has been completely busted at this point? You're welcome.
I almost thought I should submit another one that's just like, we're literally just going to go with coin tosses. We're just going to go coin toss the whole way down and see that comes out better. Hey, there were some things that were not too bad on that at first.
Yeah, I'm like fully expecting at the end, like, that wasn't my real bracket. Here's my real one, and every single thing's like accurate as hell on it.
Yeah, I filled it out an hour before the show, after the last match. All right, well, before we turn things over to what was my favorite one? The baller of the brats. Let's talk a little bit about the World Cup. So today, in case you didn't know, as we're recording this on the 29th, Tuesday, November, the U.S. men's national team completed the task as they won, and they are now moving on as our boys defeated Iran by a score of 1-0 earlier on today to close out the group of action for Group B. So in case you've been living under a rock, here's a little recap. With 2 changes from the side that took on England on Black Friday. And we want to say, like, that was we can touch on that real quickly. Leading into this, that was a big deal to draw.
Mm-hmm. It was
England
a good game. And it was a well-earned draw, probably a little unfavorable to the U.S., who were probably the better team in that game.
Oh, without question.
Yeah,
we were we were the better side for the entirety of the first half and the majority of the second.
Agreed.
Not the whole second, but
agreed.
And so to come out of that match with the draw was huge. But this was tough. This was a tough little group when it was all said and done. So the side that took on England on Black Friday said there are a couple of changes to the U.S. men's national team. They came up bright rays of resemblance to that of over a week ago against Wales. The midfielder McKennie, Musa, and Adams were bossing the game as they've done all tournaments so far. Josh Sargent was holding the ball up like Norwich superstar for Pulisic. That's pretty funny. And Way, how you say his name?
Weah.
Just Weah. Whoa, Weah, dude. And man bun legend Tim Ream. That's pretty good. I like that. Which really spells team. Then in the 38th minute, just 2 minutes off our only other goal in the Wales match, who else other than Captain America himself, Christian Pulisic, puts his body on the line as a lovely headed cross from Sergino Dest lands on the Pennsylvanian's foot as he pokes it home. Unfortunately, though, Christian P was worse for wear as he went down for some time, but stayed in the game until half. So the men went into 1-0 up. Brendan Aarson came out for Pulisic to start the second, and after a few spotty chances from U.S., old Greg Berhalter, I like to put it that way, pulled the trigger, and it was time to play prevent defense. So on came a few defensive subs, such as Kellen Acosta for McKennie, Shaq Moore for Weah, and Walker Zimmerman, who was replaced by Cameron Carter-Vickers to start the game. Came on very bright start in this match, Sergino Dest. From about the 77th minute on, the U.S. men repelled wave after wave of Iran's attack. And after what seemed like forever and a few non-contentious penalty shouts by Iran, the U.S. men's national team welcomed the final burst of whistles from the ref as the Americans move on to round of 16 in the 2022 World Cup.
Let's go.
Oh, man. So to move on to Ferris's questions here, how are we feeling about the match as a whole, gents?
I mean, if you're doing it in terms of an inspector coming to a house and checking your power or something, and you know, is it complete? Is it on? Is it boom? I don't know. I know what the hell they do. I'm making up as I go along. Don't look at me that way. But they get marked as completed pass. They pass. Yeah. Right. It's not a fail here. The game as a whole, you look at it, they did the job. They needed to win. They did that. Bingo, bango. That first kind of phase of this tournament, they completed, they passed. Awesome. And might I add, not necessarily named the group of death coming into this. That was mainly Canada's group, which we'll talk about in a bit. But if you were to take the FIFA rankings prior to coming into this tournament, we were in the group of death. If you were to do an average of all of the ranks between us, Wales, England, and Iran, we had the highest ranking group amongst all other groups. So to come out of that group, along with England, who also won today and beat Wales 3-0, is a hell of an accomplishment for the second youngest team in this World Cup.
Yes. I'll splash a little water. Oh, as you said, for the England game, we got a little unlucky. that we maybe could have had a chance to score again. And this stayed tight because we couldn't score again. It's the only thing that really worries me going into the knockout round is defensively, we actually look quite stout against world-class teams.
We've only given up one goal in the tournament, and that was
Yeah.
on a penalty, so not even a goal from the run of play yet so far.
Right. We just don't score.
That's a nervy thing, right?
We are lacking an out-and-out number 9 to really do that. Weah's had some good strikes. He had one today, which was a lovely outside of the boot far post that dinked in, but just a hair off sides. Pulisic, we know that he's a poacher of the ball, I would say, not necessarily a goal scorer. Sargent's not a goal scorer, but Sargent had a really good game today. He ran the channels well. He held the ball up especially well. He brought people into play. That's all you can ask. I don't think he was brought into this side to really score goals. He's been doing that for Norwich this season, but hasn't done that consistently throughout his career. But today, he was one of the better players on the pitch before he was subbed off because of what he did to even get that attack going forward, holding that attack up. So while we missed that out-and-out number 9, the style that we have done worked for the group that we're in, or we're in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just, to quote John Madden, to win, we'll have to score. Or to paraphrase John Madden, maybe. That's the only thing that worries me is just, that all being said, I mean, it's frustrating that that's the case because it is definitely probably one of the most solid teams that we've ever had. And today's team was the youngest team in the World Cup by average age.
And the first time in U.S. men's national team history that there were 0 MLS players in the starting lineup of a World Cup. Kind of interesting stat.
Yeah, I am nervous for us in the knockout rounds because you're going to have to put your chances away when you face the better teams, right? England, obviously a great team. Ireland, great team.
Wales.
We're going to continue to get harder and harder teams. It's not going to get easier from here, right? Whereas the group stage, you can kind of say, well, we took on England and Iran is not as hard as England, right? So you kind of have, even though it was a, win or go home kind of game, you have these kind of, we played a hard team and a not as hard team and a hard team and not as hard team. Well, now it's just going to get worse. So you have to put your chances in the back of the net and you have to be ruthless in the final third. We aren't. So no matter who is trying to score, today we did a lot of things that we've done in the final third in the 2 previous games, which is one too many passes, trying to hold the ball on for that, golden invitation to put it in the back of the net. And then you get closed down by the defenders.
Just shoot the ball sometimes.
I get trying to be unselfish, but unless that player has a wide open net, shoot the ball.
Yeah, create that chaos in front of the net that can make anything happen.
Yes.
Even if nothing comes of it, you start to make the other team freak out because they know you're just going to shoot, And it's
right. And that goalkeeper starts to get nervy. He starts parrying balls he should catch, and then you've got someone coming up to get that rebound.
Because we basically cannot go behind. This team cannot go behind. If we go behind, we're in trouble. Like
we are. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
and so far this tournament, we haven't shown that yet. We haven't been in that position to. And against the Dutch, we might. The Dutch aren't the team of old where they are blazing and high flying, but they got a lot of speed, good talent, and a good defense. So while they haven't necessarily been one of the better teams in the tournament so far, they're still world-class competition.
Yeah.
Who is going to make it extremely difficult for us to do anything and score, but then make it very difficult for our defenders and having to hold Depay and Gakpo and attackers like that at bay, because we had Tremi today for Iran. who we didn't really allow to get in the game. We had Kane before that. We really didn't allow to get in the game. And even Bale before that really didn't even get in the game. So we've done well at containing them. And I think the biggest part of what the U.S. men have done so far is that MMA midfield of McKennie, Musa, and Adams.
Yeah, that's where I was headed next.
They've been absolutely stellar in there. They're all over the place. They're making it extremely difficult for any teams to move about the cabin in the center part of the pitch. And their distribution out of the back is consistent. Not always great, but consistent with the majority of their passes. That's been the rock who have helped to protect Ream, Zimmerman, Cameron Carter, Vickers, and then connect that play to the Pulisic's, Tim Weahs, and so on. That midfield needs to stay healthy amongst all, and there are health concerns now for the team going into the next round.
Right. Yeah. Did you see the pictures of Christian P from the hospital?
Yeah.
I'll see you boys Saturday. Yeah. We got to see what comes out of that. That's rough. Although, I mean, a big deal to get out of this group. I mean, I know obviously we want to go further, but I think a big deal to get out of this group. So
anything, in my opinion, anything after this is, bonus, right? Yeah. Getting out of the group is a success. We have done that in the past for other World Cups that we've been in, but as of coming off of years where we weren't as good and we didn't qualify for the last World Cup, getting out of the group now is it's a success.
Yeah, what worries me though is like how we win this next match, because I could easily see the first round of 16 going all extra time and down to penalties, and you just have this exhausted team, following it. Because we definitely have the kind of team that could see a couple of wins going all the way down to penalties by the time it's said and done. Yeah,
but I mean, look at what a much older Italian squad did in the Euros a few years back. They went to back-to-back pens. This is to Ron's point. I'm sorry.
Where's Italy now? Where are they?
They're having linguine and Peronis at home in Italy. Is that what they have? I don't know. Is that what they have?
Yeah, Peroni's Italian.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's their bud, but yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's like Australians are like Fosters.
Fosters, yeah. Right.
I'm not sure where Peroni falls on that, but that's
okay. But to Ron's point, yeah, everything past this is almost playing with house money, because to have as young a team as we have, to sit there 8 years ago and for McKennie and Pulisic to vow that they're going to get us to this next World Cup was kind of that first check of, well, that's done, right? You qualified, you got in, check. Well, the next is to get out of the group, check. Those are the two main things. And now as you're nearing the end of the book, who knows how that's going to be written. But however it's going to be written, it's going to talk about how hard this team worked at such a young age and the experience that they gained throughout this tournament.
Yeah, most definitely. And also, they're such a young team. After this, they're taking all that World Cup experience and they're going to go into CONCACAF, and we're going to have Gold Cup and we're going to have all the other international tournaments on our way back to the World Cup. So this experience is invaluable for these players being leaders to help pull the next young generation back into competing.
And you were right, Ferris. It is Peroni is the most popular beer in Italy. Well done.
And if I can give one coaching advice to one person on the U.S. team today.
I know exactly what this is going to be.
Is this going to go to your thoughts on our manager here or our coach here?
No. Haji A. Wright. I don't know if that's the middle name or not, but take the ball to the fucking corner. When we're 1-0 up and we got to win the game, take the ball to the fucking corner. hold it up. Use your big ass, put that in somebody's fucking nuts, and hold the damn ball up. Thankfully, Ron had just taken out the pup. And the pup was outside, and it was a calm game all game long until that happened. And I am yelling at the top of my lungs that exact same way. Take the ball to the fucking corner. God almighty. Don't try to be the hero. Don't try to, whatever he was doing, shooting, passing, both, got caught in two minds. I get it. I've been there. Not the time to do it. Get your big in the corner with the ball, hold it up, nut check someone, and stay in that corner. Make them foul you, make them waste time, make them get frustrated, burn time. Because what almost happened, they almost came down and scored. That was close, or there was almost a penalty shout. But that could have been prevented had you gotten in the corner and just held the ball up. God almighty, it's
Yeah, that was, I think the entire population of U.S. that knows anything about soccer while watching that screamed the exact same thing. But again, that kind of shows the lack of experience.
Yeah.
Right. And he's learning a lot at this World Cup. You bet your bottom dollar that Berhalter is going to be in his ear.
I hope so.
Telling
God
him,
almighty.
You take that to the damn corner.
I would show him the most basic PowerPoint. 'Cause you know Greg loves his PowerPoints. I would old school it like John Madden. A circle, a line to the corner, and then circle, 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 X, X, boom, throw the marker at it, kick over a chair, and leave.
I like that you're kicking over the chair at the end.
You got to. It just adds a little bit of a
little Bobby Knight in there.
Yeah, got a little Bobby Knight. Gotta have a taste of home to guitar.
Well, you had some other questions for this match, but we've kind of bounced around a little bit.
I mean, what grade would after all of this, what grade would you guys give the U.S. men's squad so far?
I'd give him a B+.
Oh, I think I'm going to give him a B-.
Oh, why? Do tell.
Because lack of attack. I give him a B+, A- on defense. If I'm judging it for, I want to win the whole thing, right? Not just for doing okay. I'm going to give him B-. I need him to attack. Or be better on the attack.
I agree, which is kind of why I'm giving them a B+, but giving them a B+ because we haven't let a goal in on an open play yet.
Yeah.
You know, that's impressive for a back four lineup that we haven't seen up until the World Cup, right? Tim Ream wasn't in it.
Yeah, please don't.
Des wasn't always in it.
For lack of being impressed for what they have done is more my concern of the one thing that they're not doing.
Right, but I think that was a known factor, right? That was already, while Josh Sargent was a surprise to the roster, it was a known factor that the U.S. isn't going to blaze the tournament alight with goals. That was a big point of contention, or not point of contention, but a big area of focus that where the goal is going to come from. And so far, we really haven't seen that. We had a lovely goal by Weah. He certainly looks up for it, looks bright, speedy, talented, great striker of the ball. And then Pulisic, who's just that everywhere tough kid that just gets in the box and is just a poacher everywhere he goes, while not being necessarily a number 9. But other than that, Sargent, what he did for Norwich in the Premier League against opposition that Norwich aren't playing with, and the championship right now, is he held the ball up. He did these things. You know, is Jesus Ferreira ever going to get a chance to possibly get on the field and show what he has as a false 9, number 10? I don't know. Is Gio Reyna? Are we going to see him at all?
Well, we've seen him for a little bit
in
but the England match, but that was
there's people knocking on Greg's door and wanting to kind of burn him at the stake because Gio Reyna hasn't played at all. I mean, in terms of what we expect, probably the most talented person on our roster to be playing. Yeah.
Well, but hey, they are where they are too.
Yeah,
on the other side.
Very true.
Just to back up a second, I give them a B+ because their midfield and their defense has been punching above the weight. But I'm not even mad that we're not. Well, how do I say this? We don't have a striker, so we don't have somebody, holding up play and all that. But when we do get the opportunity, we are not ruthless and clinical in the final third. We're doing this thing that is prevalent in American soccer, and we're waiting for the heavens to open up for us to shoot the ball.
What is that about? Because you would actually feel like, now, granted, we didn't have any MLS players today, so I take this with a grain of salt. But that is a weird thing right now in watching MLS. That is why are you waiting for the perfect shot? Because you're in the wrong league. Just go for it. You'll probably get 5 more goals out of your season as a striker for that. And I'm not sure why that's happening in our national team right now as well.
I mean, you just watch them. They have this great build up, and then someone gets the ball at their feet. They get bogged down. And I'm kind of a broken record. I've said this a lot. You slow up or something. You're trying a million step overs or a cheeky pass, and then the defenders close you down and they strip the ball, and it's going the other way. We did that 14 times in this USA match today. 14 times.
It's that, to your point, that's the fear, because that goes wrong one time and you get one counter. We do not have the ability to put 2 or 3 goals up to try and dig ourselves out of a hole.
Right. And I think it's a combo of things, right? I think it's a bit of making ESPN's top 10 in a way. It's a little bit of trepidation, a little bit of nerves when you get into that final third, that I got to play the correct pass. Oh, but should I play that pass? Which brings me to the uncertainty in a way, but also how telegraphed it can be for a defense to defend that, knowing where the balls are going to go, because that uncertainty just brings you back to what is certain, right? Just play the ball back, or just play that ball across, or just do something that is the most probable chance to happen. Where you look at the goal today that was scored. How many goals have we scored like that, with a beautiful ball played over the top to the overlapping right back, who then doesn't play it at his feet, takes that on his head and instantly sends that across goal? Show me or name me one other U.S. goal where we've scored like that in the past number of games. It doesn't happen. My majority of ours come from down the center of the field. So that got the defense moving and quick play of the ball with certainty of knowing what I'm going to do next with the ball. McKennie plays that ball diagonally over, right? Des knows when that ball's in the air exactly what the he's doing with that ball. And he knows he's going to play that with his head, and he's going to play that across, and he knows that somebody's going to be in the center there. That certainty, that confidence of doing that, and that level of precision on all of the passes scored that goal. That looks great. But when you're keeping that ball on the ground and you're doing all these things, at some point, teams will stop that. They'll put 4 behind it, and they will stop that and make it harder for you to break down. So you got to get the defense moving a bit. You got to get the ball in the air when you have to, but also not be predictable with it. It's something that I think with this young squad is just going to take some time there.
Yeah,
to kind of learn.
I mean, you're definitely seeing, no one wants to hear this, but you're definitely seeing a group that you're like, to Ron's point, could be very dominant over the next 4 years leading into your next World Cup. Like, you add a couple of these pieces, find a couple of these pieces, and fix a little of that, and Bob's your uncle,
right? So I guess our last question on here is: did Greg get it right? So do we think Berhalter has gotten his tactics right?
They're to the knockout stage, so yeah, it would be my vote. I mean,
so
I agree.
I think he has done an outstanding job, but it's the same thing every time. And I don't think our players are conditioned or maybe well coached at playing the end style for the end of the game. So I guess my point is the U.S. come out and they have so much energy. They have so much pace. They're moving the ball. Bing, bing, bing. They are, putting attempts into the final third. They're trying to score. They win the ball back at the midfield and push it forward again. Then about the 75th minute, we decide we're going to throw on some subs. We're going to see if we can get anything out of it. And then we're going to park the bus. Now, I get why we need to do this kind of prevent defense. However, we end up for the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of every match, it's this nervy mess of us parking the bus and trying to hit it on the counter or trying to press ourselves out of it. But we're not well coached to have a massive defensive unit behind in our final third. We are not good at it. We're getting extremely lucky that Iran didn't put that ball through our keeper's legs. If one of our defenders hadn't been behind him, it would have scored, right? So we have all these little issues because we turn into a park the bus team, and we're not a park the bus, or our players are not park the bus players.
No, at least not until Jose Mourinho becomes our national coach.
Yeah, I mean, but
so that's kind of driving me a little crazy. I get the idea behind it, but the lads are not well coached because, especially in this match, right? Iran is going to pour everything forward, yet we're lazy to the ball in our final third as a defensive unit. We got pushed around in our final third on 50-50 balls that we should have been hauling to, but we're just kind of trotting, waiting for the ball to get to us. And then an Iran player shows up and wicks the ball away. That is not how you're supposed to park the bus. You're supposed to park the bus with all the same energy you had with the attacking play, because you don't want to give them the ball that much, even if you're just clearing it. But we are consistently lazy and undercoached in that prevent defense kind of strategy, which is what screwed us in the Wales match.
Yes.
I think that draws to the bigger point, too, that Berhalter is predictable. At least he has been in qualification. He has been in the group stages thus far. You saw what happened in the Wales match and what we talked about of at halftime, Wales huffed on their big 6'5" number 9 to change the dynamic of the game. And they did. Well, guess what we didn't do? We didn't change to that.
Right.
We didn't adapt to kind of circumvent or counter their change. Football is a 90-minute sport. That's a long time. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to take its route. It's why sometimes a lot of teams that score first so early on end up losing the game.
Canada
being an example. You score early on, this is going to be easier. This is going to be what you could go into, and all of a sudden that game gets on, and now it's not a race, it's a marathon. And what I think, at least how it seems, we're not in these coaching sessions, we're not in the training grounds. How it seems is, here's the playbook, here's how we're going to play. Boom. We're going to stick with that the entire way.
I don't necessarily mind that, though. But
however,
what I do mind,
adaptations don't come with the marathon. We don't change with the marathon. We're not fluid in it.
You look at other successful teams that are relatively predictable. Their people are well drilled and well coached, and even though they are predictable, strategic teams, they're still hard to break down, right? I mean, look at Jose Mourinho when he was late second round at Chelsea. the park the bus thing was, we get a goal, we park the bus, right? They were still hard to break down. They did that for an entire season.
But he had the players for that. And to your point earlier, we don't have the players for
But they're not even coached for it.
The bus, right? So
that's the thing I'm saying.
So if that's the thing, you got to change it. You got to change it to a 4-4-2 at that point, or you got to counter a change made. But going with the same blueprint each game has worked thus far, but it won't work against every game, especially the more and more we go on to this tournament. If we do against these higher Italian and South American European and South American teams that are going to pick you apart and win that marathon, not the race.
Yeah. I think that's the only frustrating thing I have about Berhalter is that part of it. Other than that, I think his midfield tactics are spot on. His defensive tactics for when we are playing expansive football are great. So I would give him probably a B plus as well if I were having to grade his abilities to this point.
Boom. So then what's that means for what's next? What's predictions for Netherlands?
Play Saturday, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern.
9 a.m.
Well, that's when the coverage starts.
Coverage starts at 9.
No college football yet, so that's a good thing. Primetime slot. I don't know. I don't know what my prediction is. 1-1 extra time, and I don't know where it goes from there.
I was going to say 1-1 PKs.
Yeah, me too.
Because I don't think Netherlands has been that great. Beat Qatar today 2-0.
Beat who?
Qatar, I believe.
Who have they been playing? They're not in the tournament because I really haven't seen them play. They are. They've been abysmal. They have the record the worst.
They shouldn't have even been in the.
Right.
The only reason they are is because they're the home team.
Yeah, they would never have qualified.
Yeah,
to be honest, they're the host nation, so of course they're in.
Yeah. So I don't. But the way our defense have been, where our goal scoring's been, sure, I'll go 1-1 in the extra time. Then I don't know after that.
I think the thing the U.S. is going to have to watch out for is that the Netherlands are a crossing team more than we have played so far, right? Those guys score on early crosses all the time, headers into the back of the net a lot.
So do you keep Cameron Carter-Vickers in?
I do.
Yeah, I think
he's
so too.
He's a bigger lad, a bit taller, can push his weight around a little more, and then you bring Zimmerman in to help close it out. Should you be on top in the 75th minute and park the bus, right? But
of your sex tape.
Well done. So those guys are going to be really dangerous from, balls over the top and crosses. So we're going to have to get the tall lads in the defense and really look to break on those counters while they've got everybody pushed so far forward. And that, I think, is going to be a spot for our midfield to really help break through and get numbers forward. So I'm going to say the U.S. wins on PKs, and it's an upset. We certainly have seen our share of upsets in this.
I will take it.
Ron, speaking of sex tapes, for a segue.
Whoa.
Yeah. How do you like this one? I very much missed you at Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving cooking conversations, I kept hearing your voice going, name of your sex tape. As I was like, I have to go out and slather some butter on the bird. Or the neck meat, I can't jerk it out when it was frozen to the back of the turkey. I just kept all these things I was talking about with cooking, and I just heard your voice, name of your sex tape.
Oh, that's brilliant. Anytime your wife or I am watching the NFL and someone says, something like,
Or plunder your backfield. That was the
That's a great one.
Like anytime that happens, we're constantly texting each other like, this guy just said this. And it's always some,
he squeezes the tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always something like that. It's so brilliant.
My favorite part was my daughter that does not for Thanksgiving, that does not, to my ear, have a discernible accent at this point. I have a bit of a Southern accent, but her mom doesn't. She grew up in Florida for the last 4 years around a ton of different people. So she kind of has a no accent. Out of nowhere at Thanksgiving. And she knew what she was doing because she made the cranberry the night before and she was having the cranberry. And my mom was like, "Oh, you did a really good job. You did a good job cooking the cranberry." Afton. And a little while later, Afton goes, "Hey, Daddy, can you give me some more cranberry?" And says it exactly like my mom. And now she has no accent, but when she talks about cranberry, she goes, "That's cranberry." And says it exactly like my mom. Awesome. And then we were like, "That's cute." And then 5 minutes later, I was like, "Oh no, she's making fun of you, Mom. That's what's happening. She's actually just making fun of you."
She's learned how to make fun of people.
Well done.
Yep. She got cranberry. That freaking kills me. I gotta get a recording of it for the soundboard on the pod.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's good.
The cranberry on this beer is delicious. All right, let's turn it over to the Sultan of Sausage, the baller of the brats, and the homie of the hot dogs. That's all.
I'm always speechless after that intro.
Let's turn it over for Ron for the beer news.
So I just have one quick thing because there's so much other stuff we have to cover yet. The rest of the recap stories and headlines for the World Cup. I have one kind of tongue-in-cheek thing from AB InBev Budweiser, who put out a tweet and then later confirmed that all of the beer that they were not permitted to sell in the stadium or in specific fan zones, all of those beers are going to get sent to the country of the team that wins the World Cup, and AB InBev is going to host a massive celebration and congratulations party and use all of that beer.
So we already have a shit ton of Bud here. What are we going to do with all of that?
You mean, what is that European club or somebody's going to win and be like, "That's fine. Just put it out back. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just put that out there." I mean, like, I know that only goes to the point though. The whole, like, just do what you're going to do in Qatar. It's fine. Oh, never mind. We're going to move the matches one up a day early and totally screw up television schedules. And before that, we're actually going to move to the fall, which is going to cause Fox and people in winter to sue. And then we're going to do beer. It's fine. Oh, never mind. We're not going to do beer, to the point where I swear until the first ball was kicked, I didn't know what else was going to change in the World Cup.
Yeah, right.
At the last minute.
It's about so much more than just the alcohol, right? If you get the chance, look up Sports Illustrated had a very, very good article about the politics of the World Cup. And it starts with the beer and then kind of moves off into all these other zones. But really, if you boil it all down, FIFA's completely lost the power in Qatar. And whereas the last World Cup, Brazil? No. Yes?
Russia.
Yeah.
Russia.
Yeah. Russia.
They were. It was either the Brazil World Cup or the Russian World Cup where they were forcing the country to put beer inside the stadiums. I think it was Brazil. But then you flash forward to this World Cup and the government basically said no. So for all of the kind of political experts, what they're saying is that Qatar bait and switched FIFA.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
And FIFA just didn't have any leg to stand on because what were they going to do? Stop the World Cup?
Give back the money they got bribed? No.
Right? So
they all bait and switched.
So it was all very, very political, and
they got played. And I hope
Well, there's a lot going on back there.
Did they get played? Did they know? What did they know? What didn't they know?
They knew that some of their major sponsors would get hosed like this. I do think because because those guys have money. That matters, right?
Yep.
So you upset Budweiser. That is actually a pretty big deal. I think
the lawsuits are coming, right?
Yep.
But they're not going to do it during the World Cup because they don't want bad publicity and all that kind of stuff. So what they're going to do is they're going to just sit and wait. And the first thing they're going to do is they're going to tell FIFA, you owe us X money because you wouldn't allow us to sell beer. And then they're going to say, well, it was the government, and it's going to go back and forth, and then it's going to go to international lawsuits.
And then it was, and even the ripples prior, like Fox started to do a lawsuit because they bid on having the World Cup in the summer. Then all of a sudden it gets moved. Now it's competing against college ball. That
NFL, Fox Sundays.
Right, and NFL. So they're like, this isn't what we agreed to. Now Fox made out like a bandit because they worked a deal with Fox and said, we'll give you the next World Cup. It's cool. And they got like a steal on the next World Cup, which will be in the U.S., which means bigger ratings and stuff. So they basically, this terrible deal was we're going to think about worked out for Fox. Yeah, in the end, because they actually got a really good deal for the next World Cup.
But everybody else is getting hosed. I mean, even Qatar is still getting hosed because FIFA gets most of the money on entrance tickets and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like Qatar is making all this money. What they're really making money on is hotel nights and restaurants and tax and things like that
hang out and drink with princes. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The what?
The Evertonian fan, the Everton fan, the guys. Yeah, and they can't find any beer, and they meet some like prince or royal. I mean, that's what they say, and they hang out in his like ridiculous pad drinking. It's crazy because they just were trying to find a beer. Some of the stories are bonkers.
So just pay attention to the news, in the months after the World Cup, because you are sure going to see some arguments.
So question. If no alcohol is allowed in the stadiums,
yes,
a team wins, go to the locker room, are they going to be cracking Sprite?
Peroni. It's going to be Peroni.
Or O'Doul's? What are they going to be cracking to celebrate victory? Usually it's champagne.
Right.
Usually it's one big bottle of Budweiser. You know how they have those big bottles?
It's going to be none of that.
So what are we going to do? Like sparkling water, maybe?
Will Ferrell drinking beer out of a cup. That's not going to happen.
No. I mean, is Greg Berhalter just going to have a nice, like, some smart water as they win? Like, what?
Non-alcoholic seltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise known as
Ron, I'm going to need some, like, diligent reporting on what the victory drink of choice is going to be at this year's World Cup in the locker rooms of the stadium where apparently no booze is allowed.
I got you.
If it is non-alcoholic Bud, that would be pretty funny.
Bud Zero.
Bud Zero.
Bud
XY.
Zero.
Well, an interesting thing is that Bud, for the first 2 days of the World Cup, Budweiser was still advertising on the crawls in the stadium, right?
They took that away, right?
So they were advertising for Bud. It would say Budweiser, and then the white bow tie would come up. A bottle cap would flip through the bow tie and then turn into the word zero, right? Which is the non-alcoholic version. Well, they re-edited the commercial, that video, and they took the bottle cap flipping and the zero out. So now it says Budweiser and then goes right to the bow tie. I'm not so sure that the Qatar government has figured that out yet, because they were only allowed to advertise for zero alcohol beers in the stadiums and outside in the fan zones. So I don't know if they caught that, because today in the U.S. match there and the Senegal match, there were Budweiser advertisements, but none of them said zero. So maybe they're trying to put one past the keeper.
Controversy in guitar. More of it.
I was going to say, who would have thought?
Oh right? My gosh. But who does?
Before we move on to the rest of the matches, I've been trying to figure out how to put this. Like, this is still just weird. I am having a hard time enjoying this like I would a normal World Cup. Because there's just so much crap. Some of like what you're about to talk about next too. Like it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird.
To get into like I wanna for the whole thing. You know, like, I'm very US centric, and usually I'm US centric, but also like what are some of the other fun stories? And I don't know. It's still just weird, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It might just be the amount of ridiculous distraction for the game, which is the worst thing about putting it here, is that there's just all this distraction from the actual football itself.
Well, not only is it Qatar, but a lot has happened with FIFA in the past 4 years leading up to the World Cup, right? Look at all the Sports Illustrated information that's been out.
Raiden Zerk might do that too.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So all of this stuff, there's so much documentary, the FIFA Uncovered documentary, which I highly recommend on Netflix.
Yeah, we mentioned that before on the podcast.
There is so much more visibility into FIFA itself that it's not this kind of, you know, glory organization that we all used to kind of look up to and kind of bow to, right? It is much more flawed and much more, crooked than any of us ever realized. And now that we're seeing that they shifted it to winter and all these leagues have to stop, and the beer and the human rights aspect, that all takes away from the enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, when I hear a-holes that are like, can we just focus on the football? I'm like, yeah, that would have been nice, right? But like you make it sound like that's not our fault.
Yeah,
right.
That's FIFA's fault.
Yep.
You could have kept it on the football, but you chose to do this. As a matter of fact, when things got bad, even up to a year and a half ago, they could have yanked it, done something unprecedented, and moved and gotten better press for that, probably.
Yeah, and put it in, I don't know, the U.S., which has everything in place and should have had this tournament,
or the UK, or the UK, France,
yeah, sure.
or
you
Germany.
Could have done the U.S. Mexico Canada thing and just said you guys are going to get it. Somebody else will get it for 26. Whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? Anything would have been better. Been better.
There's a lot that we now know and understand that gives us clarity into the FIFA organization, the corruption, and then to go with all the migrant worker deaths and the human rights violations and all that kind of stuff. It just, rightly so, it lessens the enjoyment of the match. And I think that's where we find ourselves.
But do you know who does have beer? Who's allowed to drink beer?
USA.
Yes. And Ron and I. And do you know the next beer we're having? Because the match today gave us a lot of silver and gray hairs. We're having Silver Fox Cold IPA.
Oh.
Silver Fox Cold IPA is a winter seasonal, so perfect timing. As redefined and sophisticated as the man, or we mean animal, it is named after. This distinguished and captivating cold IPA combines our in-house ale yeast with Sultana and Bravo hops to create a festive beer with rich aromatics and smooth finish. Best enjoyed while wearing chick sunglasses.
Silver Fox Cold IPA from Big Storm Brewing here in the local Florida area. Blake, you don't have another beer?
I don't.
Okay.
I got this 10%er is going to carry me through.
Fair enough.
We just had to have, we just got so many silver and gray hairs because of the match today, that match being played in winter time, that why not?
I got an early morning, so I'm not going to grab another 10%er.
It's 7% by alcohol by volume and a cold IPA. Look at that head retention.
Perfect. Cheers.
Cilantro.
Ooh, pine tarry right off the scent.
Ooh, that is a...
She's got a couple more gray hairs.
That is a seasonal IPA of sorts that is You know what it kind of reminds me of? Maybe. I haven't had it in a while. But the Celebration IPA from Sierra Nevada?
Yeah.
Similar
to that.
Similar.
Not as spicy.
Yeah, not as spicy, correct.
That's
more of a clean, silvery finish.
Every time I crack one, I pour a little inside the turkey cavity, and that dripping comes down. That makes the best gravy.
Name of your sex tape.
Yep. You got to scrape them drippings.
Oh, that's hideous.
Yep. Throw the heat on them drippings so they start to sputter. All right, gents. So moving on. Sorry, the World Cup invaded the beer news. Shock. Sticking with Group B, we're going back to Group B and the U.S. Tyler Adams had a classy response to Iranian reporter. And actually, I think Ron has got a little clip to pull up.
Yeah, here we go.
First of all, you say you support the Iranian people, but you're pronouncing our country's name wrong. Our country is named Iran, not Iran. Please, once and for all, let's get this clear. Second of all, are you okay to be representing a country that has so much discrimination against black people in its own borders?
My apologies on the mispronunciation of your country. That being said, there's discrimination everywhere you go. One thing that I've learned, especially from living abroad in the past years and having to fit in different cultures and kind of assimilate into different cultures, is that in the U.S. we're continuing to make progress every single day. Like you just educated me now on the pronunciation of your country. So, it's a process. I think as long as you see progress, that's the most important thing.
That is our captain of the U.S. men's national team. And that is one hell of a captain's response and one hell of a response from a young man at this tournament who was almost goaded into saying something that he wasn't prepared for.
I disagree. I don't think he was almost goaded. He was too cool.
Yeah.
Like you train people forever trying to get PR trained to do that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I got this.
Yeah.
I don't think they remotely, you're
right. Blake, you're absolutely right. The PR training that goes in a lot with athletes, with not so much actors and that sort of thing, but especially with athletes and people that aren't used to camera and being asked, a ton of things, to be asked that and to respond as cool, calm, collective, and honest as you can, and explain and have the amount of understanding and empathy in that response was absolutely an outstanding response and absolutely awesome from Tyler Adams.
Yeah, he and Greg Berhalter were kind of pushed into uncomfortable kind of situations by Iranian reporters. One of them was asking Greg Berhalter if Jurgen Klinsmann was playing psychological warfare several years ago in the U.S.-Iranian match. And I thought Greg Berhalter had an equally creative way of getting out of it, if it was a little more gruff, but basically said, look, if you want to know if he was doing that, I have no idea. Ask him, right? Like, just short, sweet, and move on. But, man, Tyler Adams, what a class act in that response.
Absolutely.
And he
mine
really
would have been, I got a question for you. How come there's so many Iranians cheering on the USA beating Iran?
Yeah.
I have to answer that question.
Yeah. Why wasn't your team singing your national anthem every time you had
Why
a
are
match?
your Iranian women more welcome in the U.S. than they are in your own, country? And
that's up there.
It shows you why he was announced captain prior to this tournament, because not only does he have a level, calm head in midfield for both the U.S. and leads the team that he plays for now, but look at how he handles
Hey, man.
a possibly very uncomfortable situation that can turn quick with a simple response or a simple pass on the field, if that was the case.
Christian P gonna have to hand over that shield, man. There's a new Captain America in town.
Well, what was the thing? I think I saw from Fox. They did something today with Christian being the Captain America, and then Tyler Adams being what's the
Falcon that took over Captain.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. But no, it was something that just came out prior to this game, and absolutely newsworthy and just absolutely wonderful response by Tyler.
Boom. Next up, other matches from today. England tops Group P with a 3-0 win over
Marcus Rashford brace, a beauty brace too.
They defeat Wales, while the aforementioned Netherlands tops Group A with a 2-0 win over Qatar. And it's Senegal coming out with the Dutch in Group A to take on England in the next round as they beat Ecuador 2-1.
Koulibaly, Chelsea player with the winner
shortly after Ecuador tied it up too.
Cool as you like. Oh, what a good goal.
I mean,
I don't know.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, that's. I think if I was to go back and look at the results of our brackets, that's who Ron and I had coming out of Group A and Group B. Blake, who did you have coming out of Group A and Group B?
I don't know. You picked it. Who was it coming out in Group B?
I think you had Qatar and Ecuador. They didn't make it. And you had Iran and Wales. I'll be damned. Both of them didn't get out of the group.
Hey, man, there were questions. I do want to say one thing about England knocking Wales out here. I forget who I saw do. Actually, I think it was the actor Michael Sheehan, who I believe is Welsh. He was on the Good Omens. Ron, if you haven't seen that with him and Dave Tennant, it's awesome.
And the Underworld, love this.
Yeah, but that he made the comment like, "How silly is it that we have the Prince in England here, the Prince of Wales, talking to the men's national England team, having a good time at the World Cup," and he's just like railing on the fact that like the Welsh are still.
Did you see his response to it? His response was basically, "I support England for football. I support Wales for rugby."
Fair.
And that's
a smart man.
Said, "I support this mid-digit for you to sit on and squibble till you squeal like a pig on a honeymoon." That's what he said.
But I mean, that's why at the Summer Olympics, the Winter Olympics, it's the United Kingdom. It's not
right.
It's a conglomerate there amongst the Isles.
Love it.
Moving on.
Moving on. Along with all those teams that were just mentioned, France, Brazil, Portugal are all ready to go to the next round with still one game to play in their respective groups, and no goal for Ronaldo. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I loved
the technology in the ball and like the shot of like it's like inches from his forehead, and that there's now I don't want to get too derailed, but the technology. What do you guys thought about that so far? Like the offside technology.
I like the offsides, honestly. I think once again we're going to say apply this to the Premier League, and then it'll be so jacked up in the Premier League it's going to be a complete mess. But so far, you can't argue. I mean, okay, like it sucks and it's by a hair sometimes, but it's offsides. Yeah, and the models show the play as if you're like, oh, that makes sense.
The by a hair doesn't bother me if it's consistent.
Correct.
Yep. I think that's all that
it seemingly is.
Yeah.
Now, what I am a little confused about is how far back they go from the play.
Yes,
but
there are lessons to be learned that I hope the Premier League and any other leagues are looking at. Boom. Moving down. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, which is by far been the shock of the tournament. But you also throw in Japan beating Germany and then promptly losing to Costa Rica in their next match. Yeah, man.
Just been that kind of tournament, just some weird upsets. I mean, I know a lot of this was last week and as we're moving so fast, but just what is it like? The Saudi Arabia Argentina is the biggest upset. They were like plus 2,500 odds to win that. Yeah. All the Saudi players are going to get a Rolls Royce or something, and they named the day after they beat Argentina a national holiday.
Yep. And
something crazy. And good for Saudi Arabia. They played a hell of a game. And they didn't just win. They won 3-1 or something. God almighty.
But that group could greatly change in the next matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really tight group right now with Argentina and Saudi Arabia and Poland. And not so much. I don't think Mexico can do much for themselves. Well, I mean, actually, they could. I mean, like, is that tomorrow? Is that tomorrow?
Those games are tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tomorrow.
So yeah, there's still a lot going on. And we gotta say, gosh, there have been some really, really good footage of the sexiest lumbersexual in the world. Who is looking even better.
He is
world.
one handsome gen, isn't he?
My
word.
Yeah, man. I'm sitting here in East Tennessee at a fried chicken joint. Couldn't believe the France game was on. I'm like, well, I can't believe this is happening. And they're watching it, and he comes on the screen, and like I say it as if these folks sitting with me know me like you guys. I'm like, that is the sexiest man in world football right now, and everybody just looks at me. I'm like, well, I mean, look at him.
Fair.
Come on. Like, look at that guy.
And he's been scoring pretty consistently.
Yeah. You can't tell me that man doesn't wear flannel like a boss. He probably rocks the out of some flannel.
He sweats Dracula Noir. Like, he
damn right he does.
That man's amazing.
His hair gel would have scored the goal, not Ronaldo's. His hair gel would have.
You're absolutely right. That would have given him the extra inch to get in. He's just looking great this tournament. As for the stars of the game, my, have they certainly been shining as Kylian Mbappe has already scored 3 for the Blues, while Lionel Messi has scored 2.
Excuse me, it's Les Blues.
Les Blues. Sorry, you're right. With Lionel Messi as 2 of his club's 3 goals, and with his penalty in Portugal's first match, Cristiano Ronaldo becomes one of the first male footballer to score a goal at 5 different World Cups, which is bonkers. However, none of the goals have been the golazo of the tournament. Man, this goal, that honor goes to Tottenham's Brazil frontman Richarlison, whose self-serve volley scissor kick has been the goal of the tournament.
Easy.
Hair of the tournament, you left that out. That is Olivier Giroud. But that was the goal of the tournament so far.
And that was a goal.
Oh, yeah. He crushed
that is a proper Brazilian goal that, like,
Conte spit his wine out watching that at home. I want to know where that is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where's that for our club?
Oh, my word. But, I mean, Ronaldo becoming the first male in 5 World Cups, male because Marta's done it, and I believe Sinclair has done it for Canada. So he becomes one of 3 people to do it in 5 World Cups, but the first male to do it just shows his level of commitment to the game, his level of commitment to his country. And he might have tried to claim that second goal, but that first one was a pen that you can't take away. And you go from that to something that Ron and I were having a debate about earlier.
Oh.
And I can't believe I'm going to be on the other side of this one, but that Lionel Messi goal against Mexico, which ended up being the game winner because it was 2-0. It made what, Ron? It made
Fox's top 5 best goals of the tournament thus far.
I could see it. Oh, I don't. The reason I can see it is the level of precision on that strike was immaculate.
No, it wasn't.
Absolutely, it was.
No,
it wasn't. No, and the thing was, it's not like it was we've only seen it once and he's never going to do that again type strike. The way he hit that ball, the level of precision to that nestle in that corner pocket, just the goalie had no chance at all to what was a very nervy game for Argentina, because if they lose or draw, I think they were out of it. Maybe if they lost, but I think if it drew too, they weren't going to advance because they got beat by Saudi Arabia the first game. So that goal kind of opened the floodgates, and the magnitude of that, it had to be him. Now, with that being said, I think the second goal by that young lad who I don't have up right now, but that curler to the top was a better overall goal.
I would pick that in the top 5 over Messi's. Look, Messi's a great player. He's not a shadow of the player he used to be, right? He is good at finding himself in space, and he's got amazing technique. No doubt there. However, the ball is perfectly served to his feet. There is one defender who is screening the goalkeeper. No one closes him down. There's you could fit a bullet train through the stadium in the time he got the ball before he shoots it, and no one closes him down. The principal at St. Mary's School of the Deaf and Blind could have made that shot. There is no great, amazing thing that he's done.
Don't. St. Mary's is better than that. Don't you throw St. Mary's at me.
But he didn't do anything amazing. He just put the ball on the side of the goal like he does a million times.
Well, he also assisted
But
the
he
second
was,
goal.
who cares?
He was.
That doesn't make that goal
I cannot
the
believe
goal
on this
of
side
the
of the argument
tournament.
for Messi.
No, it was not amazing.
Are you okay, Ferris?
I don't know
It was,
the answer.
it was
to that.
not an amazing goal.
The U.S. got out of the group. There's a lot of weird things that have
Weah's
happened
goal
to me today.
against
But the one he scored today, where he's
Wales
offside, was pretty damn good.
was way better than Messi's goal. He
I
was
don't
under
think so.
pressure.
I don't
There was a
think so.
defender draped over him. The keeper's coming. Messi had 10 years. He could have read the newspaper, had coffee, and ordered stuff from Amazon between the time he got the ball and shot it, and no one closed him
Well,
down.
he wouldn't have because it was after Black Friday. So you don't want to order anything on a Saturday. You want to wait till Cyber Monday.
Ron, just relax. Ferris is finally coming around to Messi being the best player in the world.
That's not the case. Even though Ronaldo's no longer a Manchester United player, he's still the GOAT in my
Yeah,
eyes.
he's clubless.
Clubless. It's the funniest thing to me. Oh my gosh. Boy, I'm surprised. Well, anyway. Couldn't even wait for the World Cup to be over.
Had to get his own headlines, that man did. Love it.
And then start complaining about not getting that goal either. Oh my gosh, that guy.
Love him.
Let's see. Over on the other end, while the host Qatar was the first out of the tournament. Actually, that's not true.
Yeah, they were. They were the first.
No.
Okay.
The first people out of the tournament. First group out of the tournament was Budweiser.
Hey. Good job.
Starting the dad jokes early.
That's a dad joke. That's a good joke.
I liked it. Good job.
Let's see. Qatar were the first to go out of the tournament. Canada, CONCACAF's #1 team, also joined them with the back-to-back losses to Belgium and Croatia. Man, Croatia was on fire in that game. However, for Canada, it hasn't been all doom and gloom as their star man, Alphonso Davies, became the first Canadian male to score a goal at a World Cup.
Yeah, I've never scored a goal before at the World Cup. That's pretty cool.
And the fastest goal of the tournament so far.
Yeah. But Croatia, that game, oh my gosh.
I mean, what is the Canadian manager's name? Henderson?
No, give me a second. I'll find it.
But he really helped Croatia with all of his,
where he was like, we're going to F them up or whatever they
F Croatia. We're going to F Croatia and all that.
I like it.
I mean,
and then
John Herdman, you were nowhere close.
It started with
Croatia,
an H.
They were like, thanks for the motivation.
Yeah.
Like,
and man, Canada came out all fire.
It's
for the first 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then completely collapsed midfield and defensively, just were confused, out of position, not communicating, frustrated, and Croatia took solid advantage.
It's almost like Croatia game plan. I can't do a very like European Baltic accent, but I'm not even going to try. We're going to skip that part. But it's almost like they went into the room and was like, lads, we're going to give them one. We're going to spot them one. Let them get their goal. Let Canada get their goal in the World Cup. And then we'll start to play. So the old like Jordan technique of I'm going to spot you some points and then it's just.
And then I'm going to close my eyes and shoot. Yeah.
Then I'm just going to bounce on off the net, off the container in the stadium. But just it was vast.
I was
differences of clubs in that game at that point. Wild.
I was rooting for our North American compatriots, but I won't lie.
Absolutely.
Once Croatia fire, I really started rooting for Croatia. Just they were on it.
Yeah, I think this is ultimately, even though Canada does not get out of the group, this is still good for them in the international community, right? The experience they're gaining going to the World Cup is great.
Oh my gosh, this guy's definitely married a Canadian. Look at how he's buttering it up over here.
No, I think it's still good for them since they haven't been to a World Cup since 1986. Right? So
that doesn't even seem right, does it? Like that doesn't
No, it does.
right.
They haven't been good for the past.
they haven't been good for a while.
Yeah.
But also I think selfishly for American soccer, this is going to have to make us better. Because as Canadians get better, we are going to have to continue to elevate our game to continue to beat them.
Yeah, because we have that rivalry down south with Mexico and the Dos Acero and all of that. Well, now we have something up north.
Yeah.
All borders, like, yeah, you're right. It kind of lifts up the entire Jack Warner CONCACAF.
We can't mess around. Well, yeah,
Jack Warner's CONCACAF.
we go to play Canada. We got to bring our A game.
Like, yeah, you have to have the A a little bit more. Gonna bring the A game.
The A game,
Well, I was saying today, I was like, oh, you know what? When the Iranian goalkeeper broke his nose in the first game against England, that was a proper hockey player, he would have been back out very next shift. He would have snapped that nose into place and been back on the field stopping goals. But no, soccer players got to go. Got to get a card out there. Got to get the stretcher. Got to put you on it. Hold your nose for you.
Ferris just can't stand it if anybody actually has an injury.
That's a hockey player. Get back out there. Play.
Amazing.
I can't wait till he starts talking about Arsenal players.
Oh,
I know.
We won't get into that. We won't get into that.
Hey, man, Brazil. The pitch invader wearing a Superman crested shirt that said "Save Ukraine" on the first and respect
on the front,
on the front, and then respect for Iranian women on the back, all while waving a rainbow flag for the LGBTQIA plus rights. Which day was that? I forget when that was.
Yes.
It was the Spain and Germany match, right? No. What match was it? Oh, it was Portugal's match.
Portugal, Uruguay.
Yeah, it's Portugal. Yeah.
So that was yesterday.
Yeah. The coolest, most respectful pitch invader that there can be.
Yeah, it was.
And there's mixed reports because apparently nothing happened to him, he said.
Well, physically, he was not roughed up or detained or anything like that. But allegedly, some reports are saying he is now banned from the remaining matches of the World Cup in Qatar.
Well, I mean, that would kind of make sense.
I would expect that. Yeah. The most respectful pitch invader ever.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of reports coming out of, gentleman was wearing an armband today at the U.S. Iran match, and
a rainbow armband.
He was wearing a U.S. armband, and then below that was a rainbow armband, and allegedly the police escorted him out and handled him roughly on the way out.
Which, if you track back to the day before, FIFA said that they would punish teams card-wise in matches if any of their captains wore that band. Which is why you saw earlier in the tournament the whole Germany team on their team photo, how they do, where the front people kind of kneel down a little bit, and the back people, they all held a hand over their mouth as to say, you don't want us to speak. Here you go. So a lot of showing of world support and trying to show Qatar that the world needs, a little bit more, love, a little bit more transparency, a little bit more understanding, and a little bit more progression in how it sees a lot of these social topics at hand.
Like Tyler Adams said, little progress every day.
I get frustrated with people that have been like, when you go into their country, you got to respect their culture. It's like, then don't host a World Cup with people from all different. Then don't host it. Don't apply to host it. That's simple. That's easy to do.
Or you can apply to host it, but the governing body of the tournament should say, you know what, you're not treating people right, and so no, you're not going to do this.
Absolutely.
Right? FIFA is a private organization, right? It may be a not-for-profit, which is total BS.
Complete.
But it's a private organization. So it can do what it wants when it determines I'm going to pick this country over that country for the bid, for hosting the World Cup. It makes the criteria. Now, racketeering, money laundering, bribing, that's all still illegal. But you still can say, you know what? The human rights violations in this country make it not acceptable to hold the
tournament. But you can't say that if then they all come forward and go, here are the checks we wrote you for a bribe.
Yeah, right.
Right. Like, if you're going to take the bribe, then...
Yep.
But again, that's why we're saying FIFA's so corrupt and, Infantino.
Oh God, his speech. We haven't even talked about that speech.
Yeah, in my opinion, you are just as corrupt as the people who preceded you by holding onto and enforcing the rules people made while they were being bribed and did all this nefarious crap. So, like, Infantino is no better than Sepp Blatter.
Oh, not at all. FIFA sucks and it needs to go. At this point, I feel like they might have gone over the ledge of being reformed, and something else is going to have to happen.
Just go watch FIFA Uncovered if you haven't on Netflix. It's incredible.
Yes, it is. It's a good history and backstory is how they got to where they are today.
Infantino, what a jack. I seen that opening speech. One of those things that made it hard to kind of get into this tournament.
Yeah.
The one of
today I am gay. Yeah. Today I'm a migrant. No, you're not, mother. Get your off stage.
I know what it's like to be disabled. I know, like, what?
No, you don't. Get the out of here.
And what an ego, because there's some handler being like, "This is not, sir. Don't. This is not." Speech.
There's nobody that is advising him to make that speech. Any PR person's gonna be like, "No, don't. No, just go up there and talk about how this is gonna be a great tournament and all is great. We're glad to be here in Qatar. Thank you for hosting the get off stage." Fucking Muppet.
Filling up the bleep sheet.
Ron is like,
I'm gonna strangle
cramp over here. Sorry,
we started talking about FIFA. There it goes. All right, to happier things. What beers do we drink today, gentlemen? I had the Infinite Ale Works, which was awesome, from Central Florida. There in Ocala. The Western Floridian Christmas Belgian Abbey-Style Quadruple Ale.
We had the first beer that we had was the Yuengling Hershey's Chocolate Porter, which tasted like a chocolate Coke to me, and I would not recommend it. The second beer we had was the Big Storm Brewing Silver Fox Cold IPA, and that was rather tasty.
Both of those sounded like they were an interesting pairing.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I definitely had water in between.
Yeah.
Ferris, do you have a Zlatan quote for us that fits?
He didn't come prepared.
I didn't.
No, I thought you were going to have a Zlatan World Cup quote for sure.
I don't. I did a few weeks ago, but I don't think I do.
Yeah, you did the one.
Okay, here we go. Here's a.
Did you do the one? Was yours last week about the World Cup without him? Is the one you?
One thing is for sure: a World Cup without me is nothing to watch. So it is not worth.
I did that
while to wait for the World Cup.
Yeah. This one will take a kind of a similar approach, but a Dutch reporter goes, "Can you describe Zlatan? A lot of Dutch people don't understand." Zlatan responds, "I've never heard this question before. I think it's only you who doesn't understand."
I love that, man. That's good. Good grief. Well, on the topic,
the Dutch doing okay in the tournament so far, by the way.
They are. On the topic of FIFA and their many wrongs, I'll just leave us with a piece of advice. 2 wrongs do not make a right, but 2 rights do make airplanes.
I mean, that's kind of history, science, nerd fun. Yeah, I'll go there. I'll go there. I mean, it wasn't like ha out loud funny, but like I see what you did.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
Ferris literally started playing Flappy Bird on his phone just then.
I don't know. Flappy Bird. It sounds like fun.
Candy Crush. He's a Candy Crush guy.
He's playing
Definitely
Candy
not.
Crush.
Definitely not.
Yeah, dude, no, he's playing Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap is so much fun. Oh my God. I hate free phone games when I downloaded that one because someone was talking about it. And it's so much fun.
I don't play any phone games.
So
Weird.
I have
don't-
two.
I know.
That's all I play. One is that one where you've got to you've got to add the 6 and 6 block and it turns to 12, and then you combine it with another 12 and it turns to 24, and that nerd math game. And then the other one that I play that is just when I need to mentally switch off. You know that parking one where there's all these cars in a parking lot?
No.
And you have to swipe them through the checkpoint to get them out? Oh my God, I play that just to drain my brain.
Definitely nerdier than a Marvel card collecting game app that I had. That is somehow nerdier than that. That's pretty nerdier. That's pretty nerdy.
I'll take it.
I think the last game I played on my phone was, you guys remember the game? It was several years back. Temple Run.
Oh my God, that's
where you move the phone and you can jump over thing, and you had this like Drake guy going. Yeah, that was probably the
This
last
is
game I
all
played.
for a preview for our new pod, Pointless phone games that we'll be launching.
Right.
Yeah, the one, it's called Parking Jam. Is that what it is? Hold on. I'll show you. Like this one, right? Where you gotta,
I've never seen that.
right?
That is ridiculous.
Like you've seen this, right?
Yeah.
It's just, man, when you are sitting at a traffic light and you are bored.
What, you think you get about parking?
No,
light?
I don't do this at the stoplight. I'm just kidding.
But you could in certain sections
Could.
of life.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
but like,
Absolutely.
when you just need to drain your brain, this stupid parking app is quite good. All right, I'm done now.
I think we're all
That's
done.
a wrap up on the World Cup. All right, gents, to some more fun matches moving forward before we get to this round of 16. Love the beer, cherish the game. To hell with FIFA. Blake's my name. Cheers.
USA, 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 USA.
Hey.